Justin Trudeau is a complete fraud. I had to stop watching the CPAC live stream of Justin Trudeau's press conference that's happening right now because it infuriated me the kind of things he's saying in response to serious questions about his allegations against the country of India supposedly murdering a Khalistani extremist on Canadian soil. It's very likely not true. There's probably no real smoking gun evidence that would ever prove something like this. And let's just be very clear. If you're a world leader and you're going to accuse another country of something, even if it's an enemy state, you make very certain that you have dynamite evidence that can prove what you're saying is absolutely true. You don't just throw out frivolous allegations against a country because you're trying to gird up your base. And even then, I don't think this is actually going to gird up Justin Trudeau's base. He has this disgusting view that somehow Sikh Canadians are synonymous with Khalistanis. Khalistanis are a tiny minority in Canada, which is why they usually are heavily involved in criminal activity and organized crime in order to fund themselves, because the rest of the Sikh community wants nothing to do with them. But at the CPAC press conference, Justin Trudeau legitimately was asked, do you have any extensive evidence, or do you have a lot of evidence that could be shown to prove that India might have been involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar? And Justin Trudeau literally went when he was asked, basically, do you have a lot of evidence? Is there a substantial amount? He says, like I said before, we have seen credible evidence indicating India might have been involved in Hardeep's death. And it's just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean credible? Well, I think he needs to define the term credible here, because if someone says, do you have extensive evidence? And he has to then go back, he can't just say, yes, I do. He has to say, I have credible evidence that it might have happened. He doesn't. He would have just answered, he would have just looked straight down the barrel of the camera and said, yes, I do, and I will release it if India does not cooperate or something. He doesn't have it, so he can't. There's a reason why both the Indian government and Indian media have been so stalwartly stalwartly going after Justin Trudeau on these allegations and denying them completely. It's because it didn't happen. India does not have, India has, I guess, a motive to go after Hardeep because he is a Khalistani who hates the state of India and wants to undermine it. But the Indian government does not have a big enough Khalistani problem with this one guy to justify coming over to Canada or paying someone to whack him. It makes no sense. The guy was not exactly that much of a threat. The Indian government doesn't like that Canada harbors people like this and lets them basically make a base out of Canada to put up posters on their religious buildings saying kill Hindus and kill these Indian government officials, including Sikh government officials. That's India's problem. They're not going to go to the extent where they're going to pay people to try and whack a guy and then have their entire country's reputation potentially ruined and never trusted again. It's a stupid crime. A country like India is not going to do something like this. But like my colleague Daniel Boardman has said, and I've said since we've been appearing a bunch of times on Indian news channels, that Justin Trudeau, really all he's trying to do right now is distract from the CCP scandal and try and fix up his waning poll numbers. Justin Trudeau basically sat on evidence that the CCP was trying to interfere in our elections, and even didn't expel a Chinese diplomat for an entire week after it was found that he was threatening the family of MP Michael Chong. Completely ridiculous. But Justin Trudeau is now trying to basically pretend that India might also be involved in interference in Canada, to basically pretend like, well, this interference thing, it's just routine. Who cares? It just happens all the time. It doesn't happen all the time. And now he's trying to pretend it is. Another thing I think is driving Justin Trudeau's actions abroad is just his massive, unceasingly sucking ego. The guy does not have the ability to not make himself the center of attention. It's like when you see him in press conferences or sit down meetings with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni or the leader of Poland, or whenever he talks about Israel or the United States. There's all these moments where Justin Trudeau just needles foreign leaders, or accuses certain states in the US of being so intolerant of LGBT people that they have to have a travel advisory, or going after the Polish and Italian leaders for basically saying, well, your country's socially conservative, not progressive like mine. You guys need to address stuff like that. He's a needling jerk. Whenever he's actually dealing with other leaders, he just basically tries to dunk on people as the progressive darling of the world, trying to right wrongs that are not actually wrong. It's incredibly obnoxious. So I'm happy that the state of India is finally going after him and calling him out for his BS, because Justin Trudeau is what I would call involved in radical chic foreign policy. The man loves siding with the worst actors on the planet because I think it makes him feel fashionable. Just like the moronic actors and playwrights who would hang out with Black Panthers back in the 70s, despite the fact that they were white people and they're talking to these Black Panthers who are openly Black nationalist communists who hate white people. You have Justin Trudeau, sucking up to the Chinese government that doesn't like Canada or the West. You have them sucking up to the Iranian government and literally letting them get away with murdering Canadians by bowing to their former diplomats and whatnot after they shot a flight out of the sky with hundreds of Canadians on it. He is a complete moron. He makes excuses for terrorist groups that attack Israel. He goes after the U.S. He goes after our allies, and then of course he's going to be friendly with the Khalistani movement because Justin Trudeau is a cultural Marxist who puts everything into the oppressor-oppressed narrative, even if it makes no sense for the situation. So he's just simply defined Khalistanis as the oppressed and India as the oppressor, which has opened him up to being very open to listening to Khalistani conspiracy theories about what India might be doing. Has India ever always acted perfectly? No, no state has. India has been making massive strides towards making all people of different religions in India equal. Sikhs in Punjab. There's a reason why Sikhs in Punjab do not want to separate from India because they actually have a lot of political power in Punjab. They are treated very well in Punjab. They hold high government positions in Punjab. They are not interested in breaking away into a Khalistani state, which would end up just being a proxy of the Pakistan government, of the government of Pakistan, who has killed pretty much every single Sikh in their territory. Anyways, Justin Trudeau, I do not think that this entire play that he's made is going to work out in his favor. I think he assumed that it was going to give him a ton of attention and be this big patriotic moment where all Canadians were going to back him against the state of India, who might be killing Canadians on our soil. It's not going to work. Canadians do not buy this. The fact that he does not have smoking gun evidence is going to bite him, I think, in a couple of days when the Conservative Party and other parties are going to start going after him, demanding that they release the evidence, which he's not going to do. He's just going to hide behind the idea that there's an ongoing investigation. We can't release anything, and he's going to wait until he's out of office before any of the evidence actually gets released, which is basically going to be a complete, it's going to be like a complete fart of evidence. And it's going to be nothing. Anyways, that's it for me today. If you want to donate to my Give, Send, Go legal fund, I'm being sued by a Chinese billionaire. You can, the link's in the description below. Also sign up for the National Telegraph's emails at the TNT email link in the description if you want to be able to get up-to-date TNT articles and videos sent directly to your inbox. Other than that, have a great day, everyone. It was great to get this rant out of me.